My name is Trevor Rice. I am co-owner of SGA Inspection Incorporated in Lacey, Washington. We do home inspections, we teach home inspection, we do well inspections, we do water sampling, we do mold sampling, and we do sewer scopes, and probably a myriad of other things I can't think of right now.
And we work a lot together.
And
Our team is cohesive.
A lot together.
We have a lot of fun.
A lot together.
So let's talk about the top issues that homeowners have when it comes to home inspection. So what are the things that you see? Specifically, what are common mistakes that homeowners make?
Okay, homeowners, and it's not that they're being malicious, it's just the homeowners, they just don't know any better. There's no handbook that comes with owning a home. So the most common things I see are neglect and things that they don't even know that are going on. Like that really gross sewer leak that's been happening in the crawl space for 18 years. Because no one goes in their crawl space. And we go under there and we see the gunk and we see the, don't get graphic.
We see the gunk.
When we go underneath and we see that leak and we see the puddle, it's our job to take the pictures and to bring that attention to our clients. So leaks are a big one because a lot of times the sellers of the home, the owners of the home don't even know that they exist. Other things with neglect are gonna be moss on a roof, okay? A lot of people don't like to go on the roof. For obvious reasons, they're dangerous. But moss can destroy a roof really, really quickly. And so your beautiful 30-year roof can be covered in a couple seasons of moss, and that can take 4, 5, 6, 8 to 10 years of life off of it, depending on the level. So that's an easy one to treat, but no one really does it because they just don't know they have to do it.
Right, so do people just not know that they could hire somebody and do a treatment? Because I know a lot of people do know that, but I think there's a lot of people out there, we see it all the time with the moss. Like, do they not realize?
I don't think they really realize the detriment that it does. They think, oh, it's moss, it's pretty, it's just moss. Yeah. I like moss. Moss is green, moss is fluffy, moss green is a good color. But they don't really realize that it separates the shingles and it causes terrible, terrible damage. And so that's an easy one to neglect. And they think, oh, I've got moss, let me call somebody. Oh, I've got moss, let me call somebody. But they don't know anybody. And so by the time that I get there, a lot of damage has been done. So another issue, this is a big issue, and it affects the entire house and the grounds around the house, and it's water. Water is the #1 killer of houses. I think that's an album I have from the 1970s. I'm pretty sure of it. Water is a killer of houses. Rarely is it discharged away from the house properly. It can eat up your driveway, it can eat up your garage floor, it can eat up your foundation, it can eat up your walls, and more importantly what we find is we find swimming pools sometimes in your crawl space. So those downspouts that should be discharging about 6 feet away from the house and downsloped away from your house, they just discharge right next to your foundation and it goes right underneath, causing all sorts of water problems in the crawl space.
So if someone has that problem, or if they're looking at buying a house with that problem, is it always like impossible to fix? Is it something that you can like mediate and then still rectify and buy the house? Or is it like, that's it, water's down there, it's done?
Okay, it depends. I hate using that word, but it depends. It depends on the severity.
Right.
Does the water have a place to go? If you have water in your crawl space and it's been there for a long time, it probably has created issues that need to be addressed in addition to fixing the water. So is it fixable? Yeah, you need to pump the water out, then you need to find the source of the water, rectify it. It can be a landscaping contractor most likely, or even a general contractor with some knowledge can fix the problem, but it's all about, and that's why we tell our clients what's going on. And we don't try to give dollar amounts because we don't know what it all might entail until they start doing the project. So it's very difficult for us to say that's going to cost X amount of dollars. So that might be when the super agents step in and ask for maybe an extension so they can get a landscaping contractor out there to see maybe if we can fit something in their budget and say this is what you're going to be looking at, to give the buyer a little bit more time to make that decision.
So what is it that you wish people knew before they got their home inspection?
Great question. Home inspectors are not the same. We have different backgrounds. We have different knowledge levels, just like our agents. You have years of knowledge or you have months of semi-knowledge, and you're a new person to the game with the best of intentions, but you may not have the depth of knowledge that the Aaron Thomas Home Team has or that SGA Inspection has. I wish that the selling agent would tell their seller to please prep the house for inspection. That means get the stuff moved away from the attic hatch. Move that 1983 Toyota Celica out of the garage so I can get my ladder up. If you have a dog, secure the dog. I'm a dog guy, but I'm also an inspector, and dogs tend to bite people they don't know. You know, you've got strangers coming in, make the house accessible. Pride of ownership goes really, really far with us.
And the garage.
Yeah, and the garage. Clean your garage out. Let us have access to things. Let us have access to your electrical panel, to the water heater, to the furnace, to the attic hatch if need be. Move your stuff out of the garage. If you've got a car in there, a vehicle in there, 17 motorcycles, please don't have them in there when we get there. I know you got a lot of projects going on you've been trying to get to. Move them out so we can inspect your garage.
Yeah, the listing agent is supposed to notify them of that, but I can't tell you like how many times we've done this. We get there, the closet is full of stuff.
Yep.
And then you and I are like, should we move the stuff?
Should we move this stuff? You get this shoe, I'll get this thing, I'm gonna get this.
And it's a liability for us to touch your stuff.
Because we're not supposed to move anything.
It's not cool.
Because if something breaks, it instantly becomes a priceless family heirloom.
Move your stuff.
Move your stuff.
From the buyer's perspective, what should they be asking you specifically? Like what questions should they have in their mind that are legitimate questions?
As I'm wrapping up the inspection, I say, what questions do you have for me? And usually, if I haven't answered it already, it's, are there any leaks in the roof? Are there any cracks in the foundation? And really it boils down to health and safety. Is the electrical up to snuff? Is the plumbing antiquated? Are the appliances out of date? And so we're not here to predict the future, but we are here to give the client information so they might be able to budget for those things in the future. If the dishwasher is original from 1972, guess what? You should budget for a new one. So if you've got a 1937 house and that electrical is original, guess what? Improvements might need to be made. And so what we will do is we'll get this information to our clients and our super agents so they can get an electrician out there in enough time to possibly get a budget set in place and a plan put in place to give that client the best information possible so they can make the decision that's right for them and their families.
So yeah, with the health and safety thing, I think that is the most important. And not only that, but those things get called on the appraisal oftentimes.
Absolutely,
like if
they
the
do.
deck railing is loose or the stairs are weird.
Water
I've seen
heater's not
this
strapped.
crap happen where we get through the process and it's like, well, that's a problem. It's going to come up on the appraisal. So we have to ask the seller to remedy it even before. So one side, you're getting a budget for you to fix in the future. The other side are a list of health and safety issues that we have to have the seller address before we can close on the house.
Yeah, and those are more important. You know, we've got long-term projects, but then we have, hey, before appraisal, we need to make sure those CO detectors, carbon monoxide detectors, are in place on each floor before appraisal. We also have to make sure that the water heater is properly strapped with proper seismic strapping on the top third and the bottom third before appraisal. Smoke detectors are in place. Health and safety issues like deck railings, handrails, things that the appraiser may or may not call out. It's kind of up to us to put those in motion before it's too late.
So what kind of technology is used in home inspections now? Mostly the stuff that wasn't used, like let's say 10, 12 years ago, and then how has it changed the way that you do your inspection?
Time, speed is so critical now. 10 years ago, you didn't have the same day reporting systems that we have now. I mean, guys were still using Microsoft Word. They weren't taking pictures, or they were taking Polaroid pictures, and they were stapling them, or they were paper clipping them to the reports. The software that we use now enable us to do the majority of the inspection report on site. So we can then go back to our offices, finish off the report, and you can get it by the end of business day, and gives you that much more time to help make the decision, and you're not rushed.
Yeah, I love that. I love being able to get back to the office and having it there by the end of the day. That is a huge deal for us.
Because then you can also call me and ask questions in real time, and you still have 3, 4, 5 business days to give you a response.
Yeah, time is of the essence every single time.
No question.
Real estate.
Tools. I buy tools like children buy toys. I buy them often because I keep upgrading. It makes my reports better. It makes my inspections better. I don't need to have the real expensive tools, but it's nice because I can give that much more effort. I can give that much more information on my inspections. Infrared technology allows me to see thermal anomalies. What that means is, if there is something cold behind this wall's 80 degrees, but behind that wall is 50 degrees, I can see that anomaly. And that doesn't necessarily mean it's a water anomaly, but if I think it is, I can take my moisture meter out, put it against the wall, and determine whether or not that's a leak. So it gives us the ability to see within walls to see hidden damage, to see damage we can't see with the naked eye. Because sometimes the water in there is very light, and it hasn't gone through the wall yet to cause any sort of a stain or any sort of damage. But with that extra technology that we have, we can get that information to our client.
So other than the camera and the moisture meter, what else? What other kind of specialty type things are there?
It sounds obvious, but our cell phones have made things a lot easier these days. That allows us to take pictures, and I can communicate with maybe a roofing contractor that I know to have them give me information on a roof that maybe I haven't seen before. Or I can even look up the manufacturer of a roof shingle and get the manufacturer's instructions in real time, and that allows me to give the best information to the client quicker, and I can be able to speak intelligently towards it at the inspection. And that makes the clients feel super confident, and that makes them have a great experience, and they go, man, I'm so glad I am with Jessica and I'm with Trevor. It's just, it makes things so much better when you have that information at your fingertips.
Your little tiny computer.
This big, we never had that. Like that. We get information. Mm-hmm. That's super cool.
These are the top issues, the ones that we're talking about, but there's all kinds of other stuff that comes up.
Right.
There's so many details. So the process is important, the report is super important, and then working through the details, any questions, whatever comes up, that's where we come in to help you negotiate.
Let her be your advocate. I will be your information getter, and between the two of us, we will give you the tools you need to find the house that is right for you.